These are some of the ancient coins from a modest collection I use when teaching history and numismatics. Students love to imagine the stories they might tell. Did one of them buy bread for a Roman soldier serving in Britannia? Did another one teach Greek to a Buddhist living in India? Were any of them ever owned by someone famous in the modern world? Most of their questions I cannot answer one way or the other, but the last one I can. Yes, a few of these ordinary ancient coins have an incredible provenance, a record of ownership that includes a president or two from early American history. How do I know, and how did I get them? Let's find out. A coin collection is a coin connection to the world, sometimes to several worlds at once. Take a look at this coin. I paid just a few dollars for it years ago. What did I get for my money? An ancient coin, of course. It was minted by the Roman Emperor Gallienus before he was assassinated in 268 AD. His poor father Valerian was the only Roman emperor ever captured and held prisoner by the enemies of Rome. You can find that tragic story on this channel also. But right now I want to focus on a different historical connection, namely what famous persons owned this coin before I did. You see, I collected the coin, and this one, and some others also, in order to collect their famous collectors. Meet the Adams family. Ambassador Charles Francis Adams, the son of President John Quincy Adams, the son of President John Adams. When not busy founding a nation and fighting to keep it united and free, three generations of the Adams family managed to amass an impressive collection of about 10,000 coins. The eldest of the Adamses studied coins to help establish a U.S. currency, writing in one of his letters that this was likely the most momentous political subject of any in the creation of a new country. He wrote to his wife Abigail in 1780 an account of his educational visit to the Royal Mint in Paris. He sometimes gifted rare coins to collectors, and in 1785 he engaged himself in the controversial discovery of a large coin hoard found by some workers in Mystic, Connecticut. Adams presented one of the coins to the Society of Antiquaries in London and speculated whether the coins were Phoenician and perhaps proof that the lost world of Atlantis once existed. Antiquaries in England quickly squashed these speculations, but clearly America's second president had wide-ranging numismatic interests. His son, John Quincy, elevated those interests to another level. The sixth president of the United States took time to compose a long, charming poem titled The Wants of Man, which enumerates all the things a person should hope to have for a happy life, starting with food, shelter, and clothing. And then, ahead of an affectionate wife, 8 or more children, loyal friends, and good health, he listed that great necessity of life, a nice coin collection. His father John and his mother Abigail got him started with gifts of collectible coins, and as a result, Mama Abigail was sometimes treated to numismatic lessons from her son, complete with commentaries on the Latin inscriptions. The family's passion for numismatics was in turn passed down to John Quincy's son, Charles Francis Adams. His interest soared when he found some interesting old coins among the papers of his grandfather, John. Then in 1835, at the age of 28, Charles received from his father the extensive family collection of about 1,000 coins, although with one great disappointment. John Quincy wrote to his son, "I find to my great consternation that the box of ancient coins, for which I paid no small price, and which I had promised to give you, has disappeared." This remark has led many scholars to insist that ancient coins like mine, once in the Adams family collection, could not have been owned by President John Quincy Adams, because all of his were lost. These ancients must have been procured, they say, by his son Charles Francis later on. That claim, however, is absolutely wrong. From an often overlooked entry in the diary of Charles Francis Adams, dated August 31st, 1838, we read about the very unexpected recovery of a set of ancient coins in silver purchased long since by my father and missing until now. They make a very valuable acquisition to my collection. And he doted over these coins on a daily basis thereafter. Charles Francis Adams devoted an hour or more every day to studying and recording his collection, while also volunteering to catalog the hundreds of Roman coins held by the Boston Athenaeum. His diary is filled with daily remarks such as, "I occupied myself for an hour after breakfast with my coins," and "my usual time was passed in coins, about 4 or 6 of which I succeed in investigating daily," and "I remained at home upon my coins as long as I could." This pattern went on for years, and it was noteworthy if he ignored his collection for even a day. For example, on March the 15th, 1838, he wrote, "I took a day of vacation from my coins today." Even while serving as an ambassador in England during and after the American Civil War, Charles Francis kept up his keen numismatic pursuits. His service abroad from 1862 to 1868 afforded him numerous opportunities to attend the spirited coin auctions being held in London. His diary records attendance at no less than 87 bidding sessions. His collection of Roman and English coins expanded considerably in this period, along with his numismatic knowledge. His notes and diaries reveal the realities, rewards, and even some regrets for the lifelong avocation that was his constant refuge from politics, diplomacy, and business. He called coin collecting the pleasantest of my occupations. His fundamental aim was knowledge. He wrote, "Numismatics are but a baby's toy shop, if not accompanied by the knowledge that makes them a science." He sought out coins for what they could teach, not for their beauty or their rarity. He said, "My fancy is much more directed to those things which are symbols of great events." For him, coins were tangible history. His greatest numismatic regret was a long, litigious association with a collector named Grue. No, not this Grue, but a self-proclaimed professor of numismatics from France named Daniel Edward Grue, who tried to sell his collection of coins and other artifacts to American universities and the U.S. Congress. On 7 occasions from 1846 to 1847, Charles Francis Adams loaned money to Grue, with the latter's coins as collateral. The arrangement eventually went sour, and in 1856 Grue sued Adams for fraud, each man threatening to destroy the other's reputation. The trial was a numismatic thriller that vindicated Adams but ruined Grue. The Frenchman was afterward convicted of perjury, charged with bigamy by his son, and he died destitute. For a time it seemed as though the whole unsavory business might crush Charles's enthusiasm for coins. But he was an Adams, and this sustained his numismatic drive. He continued to acquire and study coins, but with a growing appreciation for balancing the costs and the benefits. He confessed to his diary, "There is something quite fascinating to me in the pursuit of numismatics, and yet I feel as if I ought in justice to my children not to plunge into it too deep. I do not want to make my collection so costly as to compel one of my sons at some time hereafter to sell it for bread. As I manage it, the outlay is gradual and never at one time burdensome." His family never did sell the collection for bread. In 1913, Henry Adams, the son of Charles Francis Adams, donated the entire collection, expanded tenfold by his father, to the Massachusetts Historical Society. Henry never fancied himself a numismatist. In fact, he later criticized his father for attending auctions at Sotheby's when he was supposed to be doing diplomatic work. Perhaps young Henry felt neglected also. In any case, he chose not to keep the family collection, and even the Massachusetts Historical Society quickly sold off some of it, mostly duplicates of U.S. coins. The remaining 5,375 Adams coins were later auctioned to the public in the early 1970s. Of the ancient coins sold, 580 were Greek, 450 were from the Roman Republic, and 1,300 from the Roman Empire. And that's how I obtained a few of the Roman coins from a shop near Galveston, Texas. Each was still marked with the lot number from the auction. I gave one of the coins to my friend and fellow ancient historian, Professor Winthrop Lindsay Adams, who is a proud descendant of the original owners. The remainder served my teaching interests, making me a steward of two great pasts, one of them Roman and the other American. A coin collection is indeed a connection to other worlds. I'm Dr. Frank L. Holt, thanking you for watching and inviting you, please, to like, subscribe, and share. I would love to learn more about your own collecting stories in the comment section below. Meanwhile, I look forward to seeing you here next time.